Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Running with Eric. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name's Coach Eric Orton, and I coach athletes, ultra runners, marathoners all around the world. International author of The Cool Impossible and known for the coach and run character in Born to Run. So I am on the top of Snow King Mountain today. This is the ski hill in town. It's about a 1,200 foot climb. Down there is Jackson Hole. Over here is the Tetons with the Grand Teton there with still a little bit of snow, and a little bit of 360 view from the top of Snow King. Over there is home. I can run this way from home. And again, Snow King, the town downhill. Anyways, I want to talk today about variation and how there's always a way for us to get better as a runner, regardless of age, ability, experience. There's always something that we can do to get better. And you know, if you're a marathoner and maybe you're a veteran marathoner and you've kind of maybe got stuck in your ways, you maybe have morphed into kind of your long run is always maybe the same distance, or your long run kind of is mostly marathon pace or a little bit faster than it should be. You're stagnated as far as your training. You just don't see improvement. Or maybe you're a marathoner who's just starting and all you do is long runs, so or easy runs. And so what we can do is look to add variety. Again, if going back to that veteran marathoner, maybe you need to slow down your long run. Maybe you need to increase your long run. Look at that. Maybe instead of doing marathon paced runs all the time, maybe you do a little bit more tempo. Maybe you do a little bit more threshold running and mellow out on the race pace for a while. Your body adapts to everything we throw at it, and if through time we start doing the same thing over and over and over and there's no variety, there's no reason for the body to keep adapting. And that's the great thing about training, is that our body will adapt to new stimulus. And so we always have to look at adding new stimulus at the appropriate time. Again, going back to maybe that beginner marathoner who maybe is just so concerned about doing the long run, keeping it nice and easy. Maybe you go to doing some sprints. So go to the track, do some intervals, do some faster running, get your legs used to running faster. That's going to help across the board. And same thing with that veteran runner. Maybe go back to improving your marathon or your mile time. I've talked a lot about that in other videos, but improving your mile time is going to improve your ability across the board. So again, new marathoners, look to add variety. You know, look at the types of runs that you're not loving as much, because we tend to gravitate away from those. So start doing those more often and find a way to make it fun. Add variety. I have a ultra marathoner in Bulgaria, and if you're not familiar with Bulgaria, it's kind of on the eastern part of Europe and still part of the Alps. And we kind of think of France and Spain and Italy, Switzerland as the Alps, but Bulgaria has some amazing mountains to run and has some amazing mountain runners living in Bulgaria. And one of my athletes, this is the first year we've worked together, he just did 140K. He's an experienced runner, he's 50 years old, and we really looked to add variety with what he was doing this year. And so his race was 2 weeks ago, and he kind of the first 3 hours we kept him patient, and he was between 50th and 100th place, and he finished top 10. And so one thing we did is obviously we worked on race strategy and being patient, and that's adding variety, and that's learning how to race, using heart rate to teach us how to race and to be patient. So that was one thing that we really worked on. But he was so used to, again, he's doing 140K, 160K, which is again 100 miles, 162 miles for those in the States. So he's used to kind of focusing more on just getting time in the mountains, which again is important, but he got away from speed. So we sent him to the track. I had him do a lot of threshold work, and his ability really catapulted. Again, he top #1 in his age group and top 10 overall amongst a strong field, and he's 50 years old. So again, there's always a way for us to get better, regardless of how old we are, how long we've been doing this. I often talk about my athlete here in Jackson, Margot, and she's in her mid-50s, and there's always a way for us to get her better. She's routinely going to Europe and placing in a top 20 overall and top 5 in her age group, top 3 US runner. In the States, she'll be top 10, top 5 overall. So we're always working on ways to get her stronger, and it's not always working on speed. It's working. We did a lot of strong running in the mountains. So we're always looking to add variety for her to get better. And same thing with all my athletes. We look at what's working, and we look to how we can tweak things and add variety to always get the body changing things up and forcing the body to adapt, or the brain to adapt. Like with Z, he needed to work on his race strategy. That was all part of it. So we've got to train the brain also. So what I did today, or let me back up. What I did yesterday is I went on a 10-mile run yesterday with a 5-mile climb up. It was about a 1,000-foot climb, and then I turned around and came back down. So what I did is on my climb up, I kept it as easy as I could. I was zone 2 heart rate, which is really easy. And I just worked on cadence and stayed patient, climbing all the way up. And then my goal coming down was to open it up and try to average a higher wattage coming down than I averaged going up. So if you know something about wattage, even just going uphill easy, you're going to have a pretty high wattage. So my goal was to run fast enough down to have a high enough wattage to average higher than my climbing, and I succeeded. But again, that was something new for me, and a way for me to challenge my ability as far as a downhill runner, and just adding challenge in itself and how I usually execute runs. So look to change up your runs like that. And so I looked at yesterday and today as back-to-back days. Today I have Snow King's Climb. It's like I said, about a 1,200-foot climb in just over 2 miles. So pretty good gain. And now I ran this at threshold, and threshold heart rate, and I eyeballed it with my wattage, and they were pretty similar. So I was pretty happy with that, and I just kept it easy. I didn't push it. I stayed patient, and I got up here, and now I'm just going to run down nice and easy for back-to-back days. But one last point I want to use my example for is that my threshold run up here threshold is right at that point where your body's still aerobic, or right in between going aerobic and anaerobic, and so it's not a max effort. And my threshold time was 3 or 4 minutes slower than my PR. And so if I got caught up in my PR all the time, I would have pushed this and defeated the purpose of the workout. So if you're always looking to PR, you're going to plateau. You're going to mentally burn out. It doesn't always have to be your best run, and it shouldn't be. I'll test this maybe every 6 weeks for a PR. So I'm not concerned about beating my time all the time. And with Strava and all this social sharing, I think sometimes we get caught up into always having to best either someone else or our own times, and that's really detrimental for our performance long term. So look at that too, and look how that affects your brain. Just be patient and look at the purpose of the workout of the day. So, okay, that's all I got for you today. I'm using the Ultra Superiors and still testing them out, but I promised you a review, so look for that coming soon. And if you like this, subscribe, hit the notification button, all that jazz, and we'll see you next time. See ya.